Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of Follow Suit, Fashion Unfiltered. And for all my first-time viewers, I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of what Follow Suit is all about. Follow Suit is a mantra, which means follow the suit. And as you follow the suit, you're going to come to realize that the suit is a role model and also a mentor to give guidance to young men in our community and to society. And it is my job to honor and salute some of the people who have been not only putting on the suit and doing the work, but they also do major work in the community. Today we're going to have two special guests here, so we're going off track just a little bit with my two guests, but I hope everybody gets the point. So my guests are Johnathan Kirkland and Palmer Woodberry. How you fellas doing today?
How you doing, my brother?
Doing good, as always.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so and as I say, this is going to be a special edition is because most of my programs about men who are doing work with young men in the community and helping them get on track and guiding them and keeping them on track. But today we have some men who have fell off back at a young age, made the mistakes like I made mistakes, and so there's always a second chance, and today's show is going to be about that second chance. But of course, since it's Fashion Unfiltered, check a look. My brothers are sharp, I'm sharp. We're going to start off and talk a little bit about fashion. So Johnathan, I noticed, you've been dressing like this. How long have you always been dressing like this? Can you give me?
I'm gonna put it like this, since my mother dressed me, you know what I mean? Cause
Yeah.
she the one taught me how to dress. You know, as a kid, she used to take me to Louis on what's that, Boston Street. They had like one of a kind suits and stuff like that. Oh yes, sir. So that's where I first started at.
Okay. And how about yourself?
Pretty much the same with my mom. You know, back when I was growing up, we was required to go to church, so I always had suits. You know, and yeah, we was taught to iron our clothes and be neat. You know, so I picked this up at a very young age.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so these brothers here, they have a unique story because both of these brothers, like I said, they went off the track at a young age. And as we was talking off camera, y'all probably won't believe this as I'm going to tell you, that these two men sitting right here were in prison. But not only were they in prison, their sentence had the word life on the end of their sentence. And I guess we're going to say by the grace of God, they're here right now. And they're not only here, they're making major strides with what they're doing. And they have, might be the first black-owned liquor distributor in Massachusetts. So what's the name of this company?
Raindrop Liquor Distributor. So Raindrop Liquor Distributor, we are the first. So you have many distributors, right? They might be a beer distributor or a wine distributor, but in this particular case, we're a wholesale import distribution company, a full-service beer, wine, and spirit. It's never been done in the state of Massachusetts.
Yes, and that's I salute you brothers for doing what y'all doing.
Thank
Especially,
you.
like I said, these brothers had the word life on their sentence, and now, like I said, this shows you that you can always have a second chance. You're going to get that second chance, but you better take advantage of it. So now we're going to spin back. I'm going to go back a little bit because I know the brother here, Palmer, and like I said, he was incarcerated, but it was a funny thing. He was incarcerated, but he was also following suit while he was incarcerated. Because if anybody knows the stories of once he got himself acclimated, I would say, he started to change and go back into that what he was taught from his mother. And everybody knows he used to coach games and stuff, and he would come and walk the sidelines like Pat Riley in the institution.
Absolutely. Presentation is 95% of everything. You know, for a long time, when I was growing up, even when I was in the streets, I dressed well. But when my life took a turn for the worse and I went to prison, you used to have street clothes when I first went to prison in the early 80s. So I maintained the way I dressed. After my little struggles going in and out of segregation, right, and changing my life. I couldn't read or write when I first went to prison. I had a 4th grade education, and I didn't maintain that because I was in the streets.
Right.
Right? And so when I went to prison, I had to be retaught, so to speak, and that took a long time. You know, I wasn't like some people who learn how to grow up. I didn't learn how to grow up. I was forced to grow up, and that took a long time. So these changes in my life are real, and it represent who I am today.
And I tell you right now, I know you a long time, and I'm proud of you, brother.
I appreciate you.
Now, Mr. Kirkland, same thing with you. We're gonna spin it back to, I know from personal eyewitness experience that you were doing your time, you was incarcerated, and it came time that even though you was doing that life sentence, that they was gonna let you go in front of the parole board.
Yes, sir.
And I remember there was a lot of chatter of people of the fact that Mr. Kirkland is going to go in front of the parole board, but he made sure he reached out to his family and said, "Get me my suit."
Yes, sir.
A brand new suit. So he was still always following suit. And he, like you said, that presentation, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So he made sure that he got him a brand new suit before he went in front of that parole board.
Absolutely.
Because you said this is how you came in, this is how you want to leave out, right?
And the shoes.
And the shoes.
Yes, sir. And the belt.
All right. So like I said, ladies and gentlemen, this is a special edition we have here because, like I said, their story is one of a kind. Like I said, who would think that 2 men sitting with, who made the mistakes that they made, have life attached to their sentence, are now back on the street, in society, they're making a difference. They're also giving back to the community because they're hiring people in the community. And they also, just their story alone should be inspiration to some young men out there that, you know, even if you're making a mistake and you're going off the track, man, you got a second chance at it, grab it and run with it.
Yes.
So, Palmer, I would say, I'm going to turn the mic over to you, and I'm going to say, if there's a kid out there, because I know that you got a lot of inspiration and wisdom in you, and I want you to speak to some of these young men out there who are off the track, who need to get on the track. And
well, I'm going to tell you my life story, and if it touches one person, then that's a good thing.
Yes, sir.
And this picture, most 10 years old kids are probably in like the 4th grade. Me, I was gangbanging at that time. When I was 12, I was shot with a 12-gauge shotgun. I wasn't even supposed to be here then. When I was 14, I was being indicted for murder. When I was 16, I was in Walpole with a life sentence. I did 27 and a half years straight. Uncut, not in no minimum security and maximum security. I couldn't read or write. I learned how to read and write from a guy named Paps. When I first went into Walpole, the prisoners used to run the prison. So a new man, the prisoners gave you your mattress and, you know, your sheets or whatever you're gonna get, and they told you your unit that you was gonna live in. And as I was walking to my unit, I seen the door open, right, and it led to outside. So I dropped my mattress in the corridor of Walpole, and I went outside, and there was a group of men lined up, and one of the men said, "Listen, young man," and I said, "What's up?" He said, "The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line." I said, "Shut the fuck up, old man," and I went to the yard. Now, when I went out in the yard, I had a cast on my arm because I had got shot with a 12-gauge shotgun. So a group of people surrounded me, and I was going to get jumped that very first day. And they said, "Palmer, you don't have a gun up in here," right? And I looked at them, and I knew I was getting ready to take a bad one. And the group that was surrounding me, a bigger group was coming. So the little group that was surrounding me made way for this bigger group. And the bigger group says, "Your name is Palmer?" I says, "Yeah." He said, "My name is Al Mack. You helped my mother before." And I was in with the hierarchy from day one. So the yard closed, I went back to my unit. They did a major count, my door opened. When the door opened, the guy that told me the shortest distance between 2 points was a straight line, he was in front of the door. And he threw a book at me and he said, "Read that book." But I couldn't read, so I threw the book back at him and he sucker punched me. And I looked at him and he threw the book back at me. He said, "Read the book." Now I'm scared and I'm trying to read the book, but I can't read, and I'm looking for him for help, and he sucker punched me again. And then he told another guy to tutor me, Nate Atkins. This is how I learned how to read and write, right? And I was drawing big P's and little P's and big A's and little A's, reading the book. The cat ran down the street. And at some point, when I learned how to read and write, he put me in the Nation of Islam. And I went from a soldier to a minister. Then he took me out of that and put me in the 5%ers. Then he took me out of that and put me in the Hebrew Israelites. Then he took me out of that and he taught me criminal law, civil law, corporate law, employment law, right? So I learned all the religions on the earth, and I was smarter than I was when I first came in. And I noticed a pattern. Now I'm transitioning out of my lifestyle because it no longer suits me, right? But I notice a pattern with people coming in the prisons and I can't get out, right? And I'm asking them, what's the problem? Why are you coming in and out, in and out, in and out? And they kept saying, it's hard out there. And I couldn't understand it. What's hard? No, it's hard up in here.
Right.
What's hard out there?
Pay attention, young man.
I can't get a job. You know, I can't get housing because I got a quarry or this or that. So I started teaching other skills, which you know, you've been up in there with me, right? I was tutoring them on, professional development, not how to be an employee, but how to be an entrepreneur, right? I was teaching them income statements, balance sheets, cash flow statements, break-even analysis. It was a financial education. And one day, years from there, decades from that time, Jerry Funderburg, another friend of mine, gave a Black History month. And the lights went out. And he said, Palmer, you got a good gift of gab. Can you keep the audience occupied until we can get the lights on? So I stripped the heavens and the earth, and I built the sun, moon, and stars. And at some point, the lights came back on. So it was very quiet, and a lady says to me behind, she says, you're a hard act to follow. You're a genius. And everybody started clapping. She says, we need you out. And I says, I can't get out. And she says, why? I says, I have a life sentence. She said, oh, no, you out of here. That was Senator Diane Wilkerson. She put a dream team together. Gloria Fox, Chuck Turner, Felix Arroyo, Professor Owens, Gregory Davis, Eva Clark, and they somehow overturned my conviction, and I got a second chance in life.
Yes, sir. All praises.
And that's what happened to me. Now, once I got out, my mother said, what do you want? I said, a suit, a tie, and a briefcase. She said, let me get this right. You did almost 30 years, 27 and a half years, and that's all you want? I said, give me $2,700. I said, I can't pay you back. I can do some house chores, but I can't pay you back. She said, okay. And I went to Fidelity's, and I opened up a money market account, and they was giving me 5% on the dollar. And I was reading the newspaper one day, and it says, ExxonMobil president made $1 billion profit. And I went to Fidelity's, and I said, put my money on ExxonMobil. They said, what? I says, natural gas. And I flipped it like a drug dealer, and I said, put that on natural resources. And I flipped that. I said, put that on energy. And I flipped that. I said, put that on electricity. And I was pumping electricity, energy, natural gas, and natural resources so well that I started a restaurant and brought my first car within 6 months, right? And then when Bush went to war, people wasn't eating out as much, so I leveraged the restaurant, and I started a home improvement company. I went from home improvement to property management, from property management to a real estate investor. Yes. And then I met my man Ice, and he introduced me to his business, and we did a joint venture, and here we are today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I hope everybody out there is listening, man. Like I said, these brothers had the word life attached to their sentence. They went off the track, and by the grace of the highest power, they're back here, so they're giving it and they're giving back. So any young man out there, you still have a chance. Let's, take your time, sit down, reach out to someone. There's a lot of programs out there, and get yourself together, because that's what we're here at Follow Suit, Fashion Unfiltered. We're here to inspire and hopefully save a life, change your mind. And I'm very thankful to have these two brothers here sharing their story.
And I'm grateful too. And that wasn't a testimony to boast. That was a testimony inspirational, so someone can hear it and say, I can do that too. And that's what this is about.
Yes, sir. So once again, give them the name of the company, and we're going to wrap things up.
Raindrop Liquor Distributors,
And y'all here based out of Massachusetts?
based off of Massachusetts.
All right.
Yes.
All right, I appreciate you brothers for coming through. I can't thank y'all enough, and I hope that, like you said, if your story just touches one person, we doing our job.
Absolutely.
And I thank both you brothers for coming
And we're
through.
very proud of you.
Yes,
Very proud.
absolutely.
Yes,
We're
very
proud of
proud.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
Mhm.
Let's wrap this up. This is Follow Suit Fashion Unfiltered. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be back with another episode. I'll see y'all next time.